You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about Russell Wilson. Got a couple of different things here. We got the Broncos seemingly doing Russell Wilson a bit of a solid here so he can get his next team, his march towards his next team started. And that is they're going to allow Russell Wilson to start talking to teams immediately. So he doesn't have to wait till the 11th. They're going to release him on the start of the league year. We've got a Broncos legend coming out and absolutely crushing Russell Wilson, giving his 2 cents as to why Russell did not work out with the Broncos, and he puts him in the dust. And we've also got another NFL team that has point blank just come out and said, no, we're not in the sweepstakes for Russell Wilson. Now, I don't know that I see a scenario like Lamar Jackson where you're going to start having NFL teams come out and make public statements saying, no, we're not interested, like we saw one right after another with Lamar. But, look, the coach was asked, and he just flat come out and said, no, it's not a good fit. And it's not a good fit. It doesn't make any sense at all. So, before free agency begins next week, the Broncos have given soon-to-be-released quarterback Russell Wilson permission to immediately begin speaking and meeting with other teams in their cities, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Wednesday. So he can get out, start looking, meeting with teams right now. We're going to thank the Raiders, the Steelers. I saw a story today that it likely won't be the Patriots, but I got to think the Patriots might be in the mix there. The Vikings, if they lose Kirk Cousins, maybe the Falcons. It's all the teams, most of the teams we cover on the channel, all these quarterback-needy teams that are going to be looking at Wilson. So there's going to be a lot of rumors and videos around all those teams. Broncos announced Monday they informed Wilson that he would be released after the 2024 league year begins March 13th. He doesn't have to wait till the 11th to start looking for a team. And that's good news. That's good news for Wilson. It will help him out. The Broncos went 11-19 in Wilson's starts over 2 seasons. Coach Sean Payton benched him with 2 games remaining in 2023. He passed for 3,070 yards, 26 TDs, 8 interceptions before his benching. The Broncos signed Wilson to a 5-year, $242.6 million deal after his arrival in a blockbuster trade. By the way, articles are coming out today about where does this trade rank in the all-time worst trades ever. We've talked about that before, and it's high. Right now, it looks like it may be number 3 on the list of all-time worst trades. One could argue right now number 2, but I still think by the time it's said and done, by the time we get to the end of next season, Deshaun Watson will be the worst trade in NFL history, and then Russell Wilson to Denver will be 3rd. So, Karl Mecklenburg, a guy I grew up watching, I'm that old, came out, and of course he's a Broncos legend, a 6-time Pro Bowler. He's a 3-time All-Pro. He's a guy that's got statistics that most people would look at and go, okay, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Well, it's because he doesn't have a ring, most likely, okay? Mecklenburg is certainly in the Hall of Very Good. And far as all-time great Broncos players, he's one of the best. He came out and he crushed Russell Wilson. He destroyed him. And I talked about this with Shannon Sharp. Look, all these all-time great players with these teams, they're still very locked into the franchise. What goes on behind closed doors and what's happening. And, I mean, Karl Mecklenburg is like a keynote kind of speaker, leadership, teamwork kind of guy, and he is absolutely, you see it. Russell Wilson isn't a leader. The foolishness that went on in his first year at Denver with a private coach, I forgot all about that, private coach, his own office at the facility, and family at training camp when other players didn't have those privileges proved his self-centeredness. Ouch. That hurts, but he's not wrong here. All right? It was things that upon Sean Payton getting hired, Sean Payton ended all of that. He wanted Russell Wilson, and I'm sure that's for Wilson that secretly got him off on the wrong foot with Sean Payton coming in. I feel like Sean Payton was hired specifically to come in and go, okay, we know you know offense. You will either save this situation or we'll know for a fact, we'll trust your judgment that this was a nightmarish thing that we have went out there and done. It's crazy. It really is. So, Dave Canales, brand new Panthers coach, gave a very, very blunt response to being asked about Russell Wilson and the Panthers. Now, obviously, Carolina doesn't make a lot of sense because they're going in the second year of Bryce Young. I thought there was a chance Bryce might work out. I think Bryce is falling victim to the same thing that we saw with Mac Jones and that we saw with Jalen Hurts until they started putting weapons around Jalen Hurts. These Alabama quarterbacks, if you have no weapons on the team, you're not going to succeed in today's NFL. And they had a very, very look. In fact, the Panthers and the Patriots have arguably the two worst offensive rosters in all of football. All right? So that tells you what's going on there. And I have heard no rumors about free agents and the Panthers at all. We can cross Carolina off the list of potential Russell Wilson destinations. Broncos announced on Monday that they are releasing Wilson, and it remains to be seen where he lands. One team that would have made theoretical sense was the Panthers. I don't know how. Unless they would have just signed him with the agreement, hey, Russ, we're not too sure about Bryce. You can come in and hope you get the starting job. I just don't think Russell Wilson would have agreed to have done that. However, nonetheless, he shot it down. However, new Carolina head coach Dave Canales, who was previously Wilson's quarterback coach in Seattle. That's right. I forgot all about that. So he's got a relationship with Wilson. Shut the door on the possibility. No wonder this is starting to make the rounds. Quote, this is not the situation for Russ, Canales said bluntly. But what I will say about him is taking that chance and that opportunity to go to Denver. I really admire him for that. I really admire the courage that it took to say, I'm going to branch out away from what I'm comfortable with. Certainly from guys like me who was with him for 10 years in Seattle, the level of comfort that comes, I know everything that he's going to ask for. I can anticipate those things. And he really gambled on himself to go and to try to do something different, a different way to see what became, what that's become. Hey, the film's out there, but I really give him credit for that. The film is out there? That's not a great look. That's not a great line. He knows the guy. Wow. That doesn't sound positive. I mean, I give him credit for trying it, but the film's out there. Yikes. That tells you maybe that people are seeing things on film that I think in NFL circles, people understand why it is, at least on the coaching and general manager side, they understand why it is they're moving on from Russell. I think there's players, and I think there's ex-players that are now analysts that think Russell Wilson's gotten a raw deal. Now, a lot of them have said, like, I can't remember who it was I did a video on the other day that literally said, as far as he was concerned, Wilson's career was probably over. Oh, Steve Smith Sr., but the former Carolina Panther great, coincidentally enough. But the point is, That's an interesting comment. You know, the big part of this was him just bluntly saying this isn't a fit for Russ. Okay, that's kind of abrupt, but really it's the film's out there. Okay, are you going to just tell us the film doesn't look great? Because that's the only way to read that right offhand, really. But no, I never thought Carolina would be a fit there. Again, the teams we talked about at the beginning, Raiders, Steelers, Falcons, Vikings, if they lose Kirk Cousins, would make some sense. Patriots, maybe. But they've got the weapons problem that Carolina does. The difference is Carolina's got a second-year quarterback that they got to find out whether or not he can play. And I do think Dave Canales is a guy that, provided Bryce can get weapons, I mean, look what he just did with Baker and sort of progressing that for Baker Mayfield. So that's interesting, but it's going to be interesting to see what market there is for Russell. I still think it's the Steelers. At the end of the day, I think Russell Wilson, the weapons that the Steelers have, I think it's going to end up being the Steelers. I really do. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.